Hi, I'm Bob Rubart with the Oracle Technology Network, and my guests for this program are Oracle ACE Director Lucas Jellema, Solution Architect and CTO of AMIS Services in the Netherlands, and Jeremy Ashley. Jeremy's Vice President for Applications User Experience at Oracle. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Hi.
So let's talk about this AMIS Services User Expo that's coming up on March the 18th. What's going to happen there, Lucas?
Well, it's going to be a great event, and the main thing about it is that we're going to inspire people about user experience. It's not so much a technology event, although technology in the end is driving the things that we're going to show, that we're going to tell people about. But the main thing is that we're going to show them the future of user experience, and the future starts today, really. And it's a bit of us and a lot of things from Jeremy's team, the Oracle Apps User Experience team, and they're going to be showing what they are doing right now and what they will be doing in the near future, or the things that they are doing right now and Oracle might be doing in the near future. So it's a combination of live demonstrations of various exhibitions, and we also have about 25 lectures where Oracle ACE directors, Oracle ACEs, and people from Jeremy's team are going to present about what's happening in user experience, what current trends and themes are, what the technology advances are, and we hope to have people leave the building, like I said, inspired, energized, get some ideas for what they should be doing next in their own organizations and with their own applications.
All right. Well, Jeremy, it sounds like Lucas has hit the ball firmly into your court. What are you going to be doing at this expo? What sort of stuff are you going to be showing the people there?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Lucas for helping organize this. We've been working very hard over quite a number of years to really involve our partners and our customers through the ACE program to enable them to be able to provide better solutions for all of our customers. So first of all, thank you very much for that, Lucas.
Very welcome.
Really, what we're after from this, we know that there is a change in how companies do business, and that change is increasing. I wouldn't even say year over year. Change is actually going month over month at this point. The rate of change just over the past few years in regard to devices, mobility, the very nature of how people work, the very fact that we're doing this type of thing on Google Plus now, from all our separate locations and all our separate devices. There are no standards here in regard to us all using a common platform for, for just even collaborating. We're using different devices, different operating systems and things. The one point, of course, is it being Google Plus. So, how do we actually take advantage of all those levels of diversity? And really, what we're looking to achieve with AMIS is to be able to, with the assistance of AMIS, is to be able to really share a lot of the work that we are doing in that direction with the broadest number of our customers and partners. This is one of these types of events that we're continuing to do around the world. Now, of course, if you consider the core value of user experience, it's not the look and feel, how pretty everything looks, or whatever. It really is how can our customers, how can our partners and our customers get successful deployments for their systems. And let me just describe a successful deployment. The person who's using the software should have a task in mind or see they need to do something, and they should be able to do it quickly, efficiently, and successfully. That's it. If they can't do that, then, it's like having a glass hammer. A glass hammer looks beautiful, but it doesn't knock in nails effectively. It's a piece of art, It's not really a practical tool to help you get your job done. And I can just say the tech, it's a very exciting time because the technologies that we see coming along, just the variety of both software, hardware, you name it, they provide so many opportunities. And working with partners like AMIS, we get to explore those opportunities, through their experiences with their customers, through the ideas that we get back through them. It's a very exciting time, very exciting opportunity.
Now you mentioned this moments ago, but certainly the wild and ever increasing popularity and use of mobile devices is changing that user experience, especially from your perspective, from the perspective of people developing those experiences, because people more and more, even in terms of tasks that they might have to perform and for their job, they're doing this on mobile devices at an increasing level, more so than they are sitting in front of a laptop or a desktop computer. What challenges does that present?
Actually, again, it's more opportunities at this point rather than challenges. It's like being given a much wider palette to work with rather than just having to go through one device. So, for example, it's actually, I don't even like to call it mobile anymore. It's mobility. If you consider the number of devices that you even use on a daily basis, I will challenge most enterprise users or most professionals out there, when they wake up in the morning, they will reach over for their phone to be able to check their mail, calendar, and news. Maybe they'll sit down for breakfast with their pad. Maybe they'll go out and meet a customer with their pad. Maybe they'll take notes during the day or put information in, and then at the end of the day, they'll use a laptop when they're sitting down to do a more dedicated task. So it ceases to be about the mobile device. It's like the right tool at the right time during the day to be able to do the task that you want. So, for example, when you leave a customer, do you really want to pull out your laptop and start filling out forms, or even an iPad and start filling out forms? You just want to be able to get the information in very quickly, maybe to work on then, or maybe to work on later in that day. If I was to give you the example, one of the biggest challenges we have for like sales reps and sales consultants, the biggest competitor is, in regard to experience, is not actually, many of the other vendors out there. It is the notebook, because they, regardless of which vendor they use, they write notes and deal with that later. That's the way that they work. So observing the users, seeing that that's the pressure, but it doesn't matter how well we make the forms look, it doesn't matter how beautiful we make them look. They still want to very quickly capture that information, move on, and then they sit down and in a dedicated fashion, usually on a different device, a laptop or a desktop, they will put that information in later in the day. These are some users. Of course, there are many different work patterns, but that's an interesting one we've observed.
Lucas?
Well, it's clear that with the many opportunities offered by technology, and business users are witnessing all this diversity that Jeremy is mentioning as well. So they are requiring us, when we go to our customers, to deliver a user experience on many different devices that are experiences that are much more customized, tailored for specific tasks. Before we would build a single user interface that all the users with different roles and different tasks to fulfill would interact through. And now we are seeing many smaller user experience user interfaces fine-tuned for specific tasks, for specific roles. And that means, and Jeremy says it's opportunities, and of course it is opportunities, but there are challenges as well. It means that we have to focus on creating a very strong middle tier, if you like, of services that will be consumed by many different fairly small user interfaces that run on a wide array of devices for various users, tasks, and processes. And we from AMIS also tend to focus a lot on the middleware end, creating services, both SOAP services and nowadays primarily RESTful services with JSON payloads, make them very reusable in order to be able to create all these different user experiences very easily. That's one of our main, let's say, challenges. And it's an interesting one, because now for the first time, like, we are really giving users what they like to have. And in the past, it was well, we could only give them so much, and we never really made them very happy, it seems. And now we can finally link into the experience they have as users of social media. That same kind of rich, tailored user experience is now possible to create for enterprise apps as well.
Is it important to have consistency across these different devices? Jeremy, you mentioned that the selection of device is a matter of perhaps the time of day or the specific task that someone is performing. Is that even a consideration, or will users accept that, okay, on their cell phone it's going to be one sort of experience, and on their tablet another, and on their laptop or desktop another sort of experience?
Well, I think that of course, it's not black and white. There's a lot of sort of gray area here, and I know that kind of sounds like a cop-out, but let me just describe more specifically. Of course, if you are using different scales of devices, they are going to have different experiences, because even socially and ergonomically, they work differently. A phone, you can do detailed transactions on it if you wish to, but most likely you're going to be using it when you're standing in a queue, sitting down in a coffee shop, and it's made for those very quick, very high level, what do I need to do? Can I sort some things? I need to know a little bit of information. Whereas a laptop or a desktop is sitting down to do dedicated work. You're sitting down for a period of time, typically, to perform a particular task, and the tablet lives somewhere in the middle. Of course, there always is the balance there between, number one, making it purely about the enterprise environment, but on the other hand, the devices have very specific built-in technologies that you also want to take advantage of. So those are the dynamics around it. Now, the way that we look at it is there are a number of key things that you want to be familiar across devices. So these may be key interactions, key visualizations. So we are looking at and we are producing various experience. So for you to be able to look at a little bit of information on the screen, a little chunk of information, just at that high level for review, that is actually the same bit of data, or same sort of representation, whether it's a chart or text or whatever. The way it's contained, the way you interact with it will be the same across those devices. There are only really 3, 4, 5 items. What's going on? How can I ask a question? How do I sort things? Those common interactions should be there across. It should feel as though you are going into not the device, but an environment. But then again, how you navigate beyond that, the common mechanisms, the widgets, things like that, most certainly they should take advantage of the native device. So it should be familiar in regard to a number of the key interactions, but beyond there, we have the ability to be able to leverage all the special things that device does. Its implicit technology, the applications that exist on that device, and the capabilities it has in regard to its connectivity, social, the context of where it is, and such.
What do you think will be... Oh, go ahead, Lucas. Sorry.
Well, it's interesting because on the one hand, you have this tailored experience on each device. On the other hand, you expect your experience to be across all the devices. So that means, for example, that you should be able to start a transaction on one device and see and maybe even complete it on a different device. And also, when we discuss the extensibility of the user experience, if you make certain customizations on one device, for example, change a prompt value or hide a certain field or change the order of the items, then of course it would be very nice, or maybe even a requirement for those customizations to be also available on the other devices. So all the devices, even though they are specific, they also have a lot in common. There is like this cloud where you have your personal settings, maybe your in-transit transactions that are shared across all your personal devices. and that personal cloud or that personal extension area is an interesting opportunity or maybe challenge from an architectural point of view as well.
One man's challenge is another man's opportunity. To the extent that this is even possible, I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal balls and tell me, if you can, if we look back 5 years from now, looking back, what do you think will have had the biggest impact on user experience? What's the dinosaur-killing comet that's going to come along and over the next 5 years that will have the most dramatic effect on how we think of user experience? Jeremy?
Okay.
I'm throwing you under the bus.
You know I'm not allowed to talk about that. If I was to look at various trends at the moment, and to be honest, it's not really about the technology. The technology will progress in many interesting and unexpected ways. Many of them are to do with sociological and ergonomic factors. So, for example, at the moment, even more so, privacy and security is a major issue for many companies. And privacy and security is a very core human element. You know, what I want to keep to myself versus what I publish. And in many cases as well, it's different, it's very strange. It's different to the realities of the type of security models that we've been living with for decades or even centuries and things like that. So I think understanding how to deal with those levels of security, how to deal with people's responses to those very particular social issues is going to be very important. If you're talking about on the user experience side, I believe that we're going to get more distributed computing. We are going to get, or devices, we're going to be increasingly using wearables. These wearables are not going to be big computers on the side of our glasses. We're talking about just small things, pebbles, that type of device. Gathering information, gathering context, and then understanding who you are based upon, your role, your security, the types of information that you're connected to, and being able to infer particular context for you. If you look at an enterprise model typically now, from any vendor, it's if we provide enough information for you, you will be able to determine what to do. The way of context for user experience is who you are, where you are, what you're doing. It is most likely that you mean this. It is most likely that you mean that. And we'll use that as a starting point to help you go forward. So assisting that user in understanding what to do next or what is important to them or adding serendipity to the process.
Lucas, your turn.
Well, to tag on what Jerry was just saying, this whole notion of real-time interpretation of who the user is, where the user is, and what he is doing, and what he might like to be doing next, what the recommendations are, in combination with the wearables that collect all the information. Of course, we call it the Internet of Things, and the processing that's behind it and the results that come out of it. That's a major challenge. I think at the same time, a big change we are seeing right now. We in IT are very used to be working at any time, at any place, but I think for the rest of society, for many companies, that's still fairly new. The whole notion that not just your sales department is mobile, but basically any employee in your organization can work from any place at any time, will have a dramatic effect on, well, first of all, the user experience, but also security, simply availability of systems. Many organizations in the Netherlands will still have bad windows during the night. Those won't exist anymore in a few years' time. So the whole notion of people working at any time, all around the clock, from anywhere in the world, basically, it's something that we are already more or less used to, but it's going to have a tremendous change in many other organizations and across society. And maybe that, in hindsight, in 5 years' time will be one of the big game changers.
All right, and then so finally, Lucas, why don't you give us the details on this event? I know this is happening on, I believe it's Tuesday, March 18th?
Correct?
Where?
Yep.
Where and when exactly?
It starts at 11 in the morning. It's taking place at our AMIS office in Nieuwegein, the Netherlands, fairly close to Utrecht, which means it's fairly close to Amsterdam because it's a fairly small country anyways. We'll start with a session that's targeted at students. At the moment we have about 120 students coming in to walk over the expo, to meet with Jeremy and his staff, and to sit in on one or two lectures. Then there will be a C-level lunch, as we like to call it, with a number of CEOs, CIOs from important customers of ours in the Netherlands. From noon, the event will be open to basically anyone who has shown an interest, IT staff in various roles, from departmental managers, architects, designers, UI designers, analysts, and of course developers are welcome as well, even though it's not strictly a technical event. They will be able to visit the expo, which has about 10 live demonstrations, exhibits with people from Jeremy's team explaining about the current trends and the future trends. For those who have signed up an NDA with Oracle, there will be also something we call the secret chamber. There we will be showing, or Jeremy will be showing, the stuff that's secret, that's in the works for maybe 2 or 3 years time down the road. Like I said, we have set up 3 rooms where lectures will take place in parallel, 25 to 30 minutes, where people will get a quick introduction into various topics that start at management level, and through the day will continue through architecture level to design level, and will end up with developer-oriented sessions. And we'll close the day around 8, when we also be running the Java 8 launch event, which takes place at the same day. So all in all, we're looking at this moment already close to 500 attendants. Wow. And it's going to be a big event, and it's going to be a major buzz.
And is registration still open?
It's still open, yes it is.
Okay, well, and I will include that information in the notes for this video, so look down there if you're watching this. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I've been speaking with Lucas Jellema. He's a CTO of AMIS Services and an Oracle ACE Director, and Jeremy Ashley. Jeremy is a VP of Oracle's Applications User Experience. Good luck with the event, and sorry I can't be there.
I'm sorry too. Thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. I do appreciate you hosting.
No problem.